Hello guys, I hope all of you are doing well, and this is the second episode in the FMGE series. The first episode was about those students who are freshers and appearing for the FMG exam. If you have not watched that video, you can go to the FMG playlist in my YouTube channel. You'll get that video. Now this is the second episode where I'll talk about, as you can see, those students who have failed in FMG exam repeated times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. How can they bounce back and cross that golden line of 150? This is a video specifically for those students. Here, I'll talk about how can we do something different to improve our performance, increase that 5, 10, 15, 20 marks, whatever I need in the exam so that I can cross that mark of 150. Right, guys? So let us straight away try in today's session. So guys, as you can see on the screen, the first question that comes into our mind always is this one. That is, you know that the last FMG exam, the passing percentage rate was so low. The first question that comes into our mind is, why is the passing rate so variable? The reason being, as you can see, if I've seen throughout the years, the passing rate varies from 8 to 10% to 20 to 30%. Sometimes it is 34, 35% as well. Now, have the students changed? Not so much. Then what has changed? It is the level of the paper. You would understand this, that the level of paper is not same. It keeps on changing from exam to exam. And there is a reason why the passing percentage also keeps on changing. Now, keeping in mind that it is a screening exam, the paper should be standard. Now, nowadays the paper is as good as the NEET PG exam. Now, that is something we can keep on debating, but it is not in our hands. What is in our hands? To keep our preparation in such a level so that whatever be the quality of questions, whatever be the difficulty level of the exam, I can easily cruise through 150. Now that is what this session is all about. And let us see. Number one, to begin with, the first basic questions that I get time and again. So I'm stuck in between 140 to 150 for many items, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I clear it next time? The answer is yes. How can I clear it next time? This is what this session is all about. To begin with, you should move ahead with a positive mindset. Whatever I'm going to do in these 2 to 3 months before the December exam, I'll do keeping this one thing in mind, is that I am doing this to clear the exam. Now, it feels really sad. I feel really sad whenever I get messages. Like last time I got a message from a student. I scored in the month of December, exam 2022. His marks was 149. He messaged me, sir, this time also I got 149. It pains me a lot to get such kind of messages. There is a reason why I'm making this video, so that whoever is stuck in between 140, 50, you can drastically change your outcome. How can I do that? That is what we'll discuss, right? Now, next question, I have done notes of all 19 subjects. Do I need to attend again coaching class for all those 19 subjects? Now, you have to ask one question yourself. You had your batchmates, other friends who attended, they were read from the same notes. Ask your question, did they clear the exam? Yes or no? If not all, did some clear? Yes. That means the problem is not in your notes. See, faculties will come, teach and go. Faculties don't clear the exam. Coaching classes don't clear the exam. It is you who has to clear the exam. How you need to use them to clear the exam. That is what I'm about to talk in this session. So what is most important, remember, is self-study. And for that self-study, I need to have a solid plan. How to make a plan, that is what I'll talk about here. So you don't need to attend any classes. Take those same notes and read them, study them. Self-study is important. How to do that, I'll talk about that, right? Now coming to, first of all, let us analyze a little bit. Whenever I give an exam like FMG exam, which is though not a competitive exam, but it is like a competitive exam because you still have to score a definite number of marks. So in such exams, what could be the reasons of failures? Now see, you have to understand there are multiple pillars in an exam like FMG exam. One of those pillars, and the most important pillar, is your own handwritten notes or printed notes, whatever it may be nowadays, Second, QBank. Now, why QBank is important? See, if one of the reasons why you could have failed your exam is you might not have solved good number of MCQs. Now, why solving MCQs from the Q bag is important? It's very important. Why? What is the reason? See, having knowledge of a topic is one thing, but being able to solve MCQs from the topic is another skill, art altogether. So solving MCQs is an art. I need to hone that art. I need to develop that art. And for that, I need to solve hundreds, if not thousands, at least hundreds of MCQs, 800, 900, 1000, whatever is possible in the limited time period. Why I'm saying this? Because a lot of times you might have seen you don't know the answer directly. You rule out two options. You're left in between two options. You select the best possible answer. Now, so that not if not always, at least most of the times, you land on the right answer. You need to hone this art of solving MCQs. Similarly, I need to give grand test. Now, this is a mistake that I've told in my previous video as well. We wait so that we cover 8, 9, 10 subjects and we start giving GTs. No, I don't need to do that. Straight away, I need to give grand test. The reason being, I should not have to think on the day of exam, how am I supposed to solve that paper? I should have a plan for the D-day, for the day of exam. That is a plan I need to devise when I give GTs. I'll talk about GTs separately here as well. I'll tell you that at last. The fourth pillar is the plan, right? Remember, plan is very important. How am I going to execute all of these together? Considering I have a definite number of days, and in these number of days, I have to cover up whatever I have. So that making a plan in itself is a very big task. Half of the job is making the plan. You might not be good in making the plan. That is the reason why I am taking this session. I'll teach you how to make a plan. I'm very good at making plans, right? So I'll teach you, I'll give you my input, how I used to make a plan when I was a student. So you can learn from that. Last but not the least, but a very important part of your prep is revision. If you have not revised well, you're bound to doom in the exam. So revision, you need to definitely know how many days I can, spare for revision. Then again, how to plan that revision. Again, I'm going to talk about that here. And apart from all of that, I'll talk about what do I need to do differently while reading those subjects so that my output is more. So that when I reach towards the end of preparation, I still remember a lot of stuffs which I read in the beginning. Is that possible, you ask me? Yes, it is possible. Is there a way, you ask me? Yes, there is a way. That is what I'm about to talk today, right? So, let's moving ahead in this plan. What is the roadmap ahead? Let us try to see where we stand today. Today is September 9th of September. So till if I take December 15th as the exam date, I don't know when the exam day would be. I'm just taking a hypothetical example, 15th of December. This is my day of exam. Then till November 10th, I'll have 60 days, and in the 60 days, I'll do my first reading or first revision, because see, by this time you would have read and revised your notes multiple times. I'll tell you how to do your first reading differently this time with me according to my plan, so that you can come out as a winner. I'll talk about that separately. Then 35 days from November till 10 till December 15, I'll revise 3 times, 25 days, 7 days, 3 days. How or why I need to do this, I'll talk about that later, right? This is again comes into that plan. Now, this is how the skeleton looks like. So I'm making a plan here, keeping in mind I'm on 2023. Some of you might watch this video in 2024, 2025. The skeleton of the plan remains same. As of now, I have taken 95 days in 2023. I'm making this plan on September of 9, keeping December 15, my exam dates, right? I have 95 days only. Suppose you watch this video in 2024 or 2025, you have 120 days or 150 days, whatever be the number of days. You can use the same skeleton of plan, expand the number of days into different subjects and plan accordingly. You can use it, right? So I've just given you an insight, if you happen to watch it after this session, how to use it. Now, first of all, what could I do differently, right? What could I do differently? First of all, how to make a plan. That is what we'll learn here. Now, first of all, when I look at 60 days, so I told you earlier 60 days, right? But here there is only 58 days. So where are those 2 days? days. See, these 2 days, I'll use them for GTs, grand tests, which I'm going to give. Second, if in these 2 days, if something, I'll use these 2 days as cushion. If something I'm not able to cover in these 58 days because I fell ill or my day was not productive, I'll use these 2 days as cushion, plus some part of these days I'll use for grand test, right? Now, see how I've divided these 58 days, how I would have divided as a student. And at physio, biochemistry, patho, pharmac, 3 days, micro as well, 3 days, FMT, 2 days, skin anesthesia, radiopsychiatry, 2 days each, 8 days, medicine, surgery, OBGY. These are voluminous subjects, so 5 days each, and the remaining 3 days each, right? Now, this is what is representative of how a plan is made. You can tailor make this plan according to your own needs. Let us say someone of you says, sir, I need only 2 days for pedia. I'm strong in pedia. And I would use only 2 days for pediatrics. I'll add one more day in medicine from pedia. You can do that. Guys, this is just representative of a plan, right? And you can change it as you wish, depending upon which subjects you are strong in or weak in. So I have made this plan for 58 days. Once I've made this plan, similarly, today itself, I'll make a plan for those second revision of 25 days. Again, you would ask, sir, there are only 22 days. Where are these 3 days? Again, these 3 days are for GTs and cushion. If something is left, I'm not able to cover, plus grand tests, I'll give 1 or 2 grand tests. For that, I've kept those 3 days. Now, again, you can see for most subjects, I'm using 1 day. Even skin anesthesia, radiopsychiatry, 4 subjects, 1 day. 2 days each for medicine, surgery, OBGY. So 22 days. I'm going to revise in 58 days. I'm going to again re-revise all 19 subjects in 22 days. Then, even today itself, you should have made that plan, this plan that in last 7 days before the exam, what can I do? Again, I have to revise once again. And at physio, biochemistry, 3 subjects, 1 day. Patho, pharmac, micro, 1 day. Skin anesthesia, radiopsychiatry, 1 day. Medicine and surgery, 1 day. OBGPedia, 1 day. Optha, ortho, ENT, 1 day. PSM, FMT, 1 day. Now you would ask me, sir, how is it possible to revise in these 7 days? How to revise? I'll tell you. Now see, let me go back to the first 58 days. So in the first 58 days, you'll read from cover to cover. And when you read from cover to cover in all subjects, you would see that the Q points, MCQ points, the high yield areas, they are marked in your notes. If they are not marked, you have to mark them. You should know what is your focus areas. So whenever I teach, I tell you, this is where it is important. They will ask, you need to focus. Now, once I know which are my focus areas in my first revision, in my second revision, when I go in 22 days, you know, the same pharmac in 1 day, it is not that easy to revise, but it will become easy to revise when I'll revise only those points which are marked 1, Q points. So quickly in that 1 day, I'll revise. Now in 1 day, when I revise entire pharmac, I'll divide my entire pharma into 10 hours, right? And let us suppose I have 1 hour for CVS, 1 hour for CVS. So in this 1 hour for CVS, I need to quickly know that I need to revise 20 minutes. I need to revise arrhythmia, 20 minutes CHF, 20 minutes I need to revise vasodilators, hypertension and angina. So in 60 minutes, I need to revise entire CVS. I need to have this plan so that in 1 day, I can revise entire pharmac. I can do that only if I revise those high yield points. Similarly, here, when I have 3 days for pharmac, I'll divide 3 days into pharmac and I'll find out that what are the topics I need to do in day 1. Suppose in day 1, I have CVS, I have 3 hours for CVS, for example. So here in 1 hour, I'll revise arrhythmia, 1 hour CHF, 1 hour hypertension and angina and vasodilators. So 3 hours, but here I have to revise the same CVS in 1 hour in 22 days. So I can do that. I can do that only if I have revised it well in my first revision or first study, right? So then I go to this. Then finally I go to this 7 days. Now see, by this time I have already revised twice. So I know every nook and corner in all my subjects. So let us take pharma again. In 1 day, I have 3 hours, 3 hour patho, 3 hour pharma, 3 hour micro. So in 3 hours, what can I do possibly in pharma? You might be asking, right? In 3 hours, you don't need to do anything. Just flip your pages. Topic by topic, just flip your pages. and keep scanning whatever important points are there, right? So in 3 hours, divide your 3 hours, like for example, 1 hour, I'll revise G Pharma, ANS, CVS. 1 hour, I'll revise CNS and antimicrobial, right? And for another 1 hour, rest, endo, resp, GIT, etc. So divide entire pharmac into 3 hours, and in those 3 hours, try to just flip through the pages. You cannot read each and every point, and that is okay. Don't feel guilty about it. So by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm going through most high yield at least once in those 7 days. Now, while I'm doing this, you have to remember I have to prepare for the last leg, that is last 3 days. Now, what can I do in last 3 days just before the exam? So in these last 3 days, I cannot revise my notes. That is not possible. So what I can do is every day whenever I'm studying, right? So like these 58 days, when I'm studying for the first time, what I'll do is I'll keep on pasting something on the wall, something. So every subject, I'll take out some information which is volatile. At the same time, it is high yield. Like let us say, for example, I'll talk about topic of angina. Now, if you'll study topic of angina in pharma, you'll see whatever they ask is mechanism of action of drugs. So I can just take one pasted paper, write down all the mechanisms in that, paste it on the wall. So similarly, in every subject, every topic, you'll find something which is difficult to remember, and you have to think at that time. I might find it difficult to revise at last. So I'll make a wall of facts where I'll keep on pasting in every subject something which I'll revise in these last 3 days, so that I don't have to search at that time what I need to revise. Second, selective topics in each subject. For example, I tell you this, write down drug of choice and antidotes of choice in pharma in the back of the copy. So in those last 3 days, I cannot revise entire pharma. It is fine. Let me not revise entire pharma, but at least can I revise the drugs of choice or antidotes of choice? I can do that. Similarly, in micro or in any other subject, I can write down specifically some points which are important, and I'll revise only those points which are important. Images in clinical subjects, I can revise at least the images. So if I have separately that image, I can revise those. So in this last 3 days, I'll do something differently. I cannot revise everything in my notes, but something from my notes which I have been collecting separately, I can revise them. And the most important part is this one, guys. Whatever you have pasted on the wall, every day you keep on pasting, plus every day, whenever you are having tea, coffee, it's a free time, and you don't want to study something actively, sipping through the tea or coffee, just stand in front of the wall and keep watching whatever you are pasting. That would create a pictorial memory. So in the last 3 days, when you go back, you won't find that you're reading something new. You're reading something which you had already pasted. So by doing this exercise, what happens is I'm trying to squeeze the content, and towards the day of exam, I'm trying to revise and revise and re-revise, and finally the last hammer is in 3 days, I'll try to revise the most high yield. By doing this, you'll get at least 5 to 10 questions more right? And this is what is called as planning, guys. This is what was most important aim. Today I had to tell you how to make a plan. Now this plan you should have today itself, right? You should have this in your mind. Now, what could I do differently? This is another important aspect. Divide your subjects. So what I used to do as a student when I was preparing for the exams, I would divide my subjects into weak and strong ones. Now let us say hypothetically I have taken that, suppose these are your weak subjects, these are your strong subjects. Once I divide this, why it is important? See, only if I know which subject is weak, I'll try to do something to at least make this subject a little bit more strong. Now, once I divide this, what is that I need to do to make these subjects strong? Let us see how I need to plan a day. Now guys, today, this is the most important slide. The most important slide of today's session is this one. And in this session, what I need to do is whenever I plan a day, every day, how are you going to plan? See, 10 hours, I have a plan for 10 hours. Every day I'm going to study 10 hours. 8 hours, I'll study something new. 2 hours, I'll revise. So you can see this is 8 hours. 8 hours, I'm going to study something new. I'll tell you how to study. Then every day, 2 hours, I'll revise. I'll tell you how to revise. So let us suppose what I do. I have picked up 2 subjects. Suppose weak subject, my weak subject is pharma, and my strong subject is OBGY. For example, hypothetically, so I'll begin my day and I'll study 3 hours of pharma. After I complete 3 hours of pharma, let us suppose I completed CVS from pharma, I'll solve MCQs from CBS for 1 hour, right? And within this, your breaks, you can take half an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you need. After that, my half of day is done. Now, I'm done through half of my day, and towards the end, when fatigue will come in and your interest will begin to dip, that is when I'll make a switch into a subject I'm strong in. And if it is a clinical subject, it is best because you'll be able to maintain your interest. So for 3 hours, I'll study something from OBGY. And again, from that particular subject, I'll solve the MCQs. So what I've done is I have spent 8 hours of productive day studying whatever is important, new topic, solving MCQs. Now I'm left with 2 hours, the last 2 hours of the day where I'm damn tired. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll not study something new here. I'll revise whatever I have studied yesterday and whatever I've studied day before yesterday. So for 1.5 hours, I'll revise whatever I've studied, two subjects, 45 minutes each, and I'll re-revise whatever I've studied day before yesterday, 15 minutes each. So just overlook. Now this runs in a triplet, 1, 2, 3. So the same subject that you have studied on day 1, you'll revise for 45 minutes on day 2, you re-revise for 15 minutes on day 3. Let this triplet run, and this will create magic. This creates magic with whoever student. I have shared this formula. I'll tell you one student who had a rank of 6K, 6,000, somewhere in 2015. And he wanted a good rank because he wanted orthopedics. He asked me, sir, I've done everything what I can do to improve my rank, but my rank is not improving. I told him, see, it is the same notes. The only thing you need to do is use a formula like this one. He did this and he actually got a rank of 60. Rank was 60, from 6,000 to 60. And he wanted orthopedics, he got orthopedics. Now again, this is, I just gave you a small story so that you can get inspired. So if you can do this, if you can plan this, I can guarantee you guys, if you do this honestly, nobody can say if you're honest or not except you. If you do this honestly, I can guarantee you, you will pass, you'll cross that 150 mark. I'm not saying I can get you 200 marks, but I can get you 151, 152, 155. That is possible. So if you have been lingering around with 140 to 150, if you do this, rest would be history, right? So this is the most important slide, right? Now coming to the next part, what to do about a vast subject like medicine or surgery if I'm weak in. So I've already made it easier. Like suppose 5 days of medicine, 10 hours each, 50 hours of medicine you need to do. I've already broken it down because we are studying only, half of the day I'm studying medicine. So 10 days, 5 hours each, 50 hours. That is going to happen according to our plan, because you can see there are 2 subjects, right? Half of the day. So we're going to study medicine only half of the day. If you feel still you are too weak in medicine, you need to further break it down. You can do that. For example, I'll not study medicine in 10 days. I'll study in 25 days, 2 hours each for 50 hours. 1.5 hours, I'll study something, 30 minutes, I'll solve MCQs. So you can do this with 1 or 2 subjects, and medicine is one of those subjects which is very important. So for that, if I want, I can do this, right? Now, how to plan revision? See, how can I plan revision? As I've said, revision is something you need to plan every day. So before this, when I was preparing for those 58 days, every day I've told you to paste volatile topics on the wall. Now, whatever I'm doing this, I'm preparing for revision, right? Write high yield topics on the back of the copy. For example, write down the drugs of choice in pharma, write down the rate limiting enzymes in biochemistry, write down the enzyme deficiency causing disease, write down the number of ATPs produced in biochemistry. So these are some things you can do separately, or make a separate notebook where you'll write down the most high yield point of each and every subject, which you can later revise in those last 7 days or 3 days. Now, this is how I need to plan for revision, which I've talked about earlier as well, right? Now, finally, guys, coming to GTs, I told you that I'll talk about separately about grant test. Now, see, why do I need to grant test? Many of you would think that I should give grant test only if I've completed 8 to 10 subject. So let me remind you, even if you have studied only one subject or two subjects, you should go ahead with grand test. What is the reason? See, whenever you'll give grand test, you'll have every grand test will have two parts, 150 questions, 150 questions. Now see, my first aim is to cruise through 150 questions even without a drop of sweat. I should not get bored, or I should not feel like, what the hell am I doing, till the 150th question. Now for this, you need to build up stamina. And that is going to happen only after you give at least 3 to 4 to 5 grand tests. So that is first thing. I need to build stamina. For that, I need to start giving grand tests as soon as possible. Second, solving 150 questions together is also an art. As I told solving an MCQ is an art. Attempting 150 together is also an art. You need to develop this art. For example, when I solve 150 question, I'll solve in 3 layers, 1, 2, 3 layers. In the first layer, I'll only solve those MCQs where I'm damn sure of the answers. Suppose 70 questions, I'm damn sure I'll mark those. I'm left with another 80 questions. So I could get, let us say, 50 questions in my second layer. So 30 questions, I have no idea. Now it will depend how much time you have left. If you have time enough, again go through these 30 questions, you will be able to solve at least 2 to 3 questions. Now remaining, mark same option. So A, B, or C for those 20, 25, 28 questions, whatever is left. You need to practice this in GT, because a lot of students, they feel guilty. They feel guilty that how can I mark same option? Don't use your brain for these questions where you don't know the answer. Straight away go for one option, and this will help you to get those extra 5, 6, 7 marks, which will help you at the end. The same thing you can do in the second paper. Now this is an art as well, and I need to practice this art in the grand test so that on the day of exam, I don't even have a drop of sweat in implementing this plan. Are you getting my point? What is the role of grand test? So if not yet started giving grand test, start today itself giving grand test. Second, custom module. Nowadays, you guys are using apps, and in apps, you can have custom module. Like in Marrow, there is a custom module. What could be the role of custom module? For example, let us suppose you have already studied 10 days. And in 10 days, you have completed medicine, pharma, and let us say anesthesia. I'm just hypothetically speaking. I've completed 10 days, and there is always a doubt in mind that I'm completing the subjects day after day, but I'm worried, what would if I don't remember anything? I won't remember anything. So for that, I'll take custom module, and I'll take 25 questions from medicine, pharma, and anesthesia, make 25 questions, and I'll need 30 minutes to solve those questions. I might get answers wrong, right, does not matter. I'll solve some MCQs so that those subjects which I've completed, I keep on revising them every day. So every day I'll solve some questions. This is how you can use custom modules. Suppose now you have done another 13 days and another subject is added now, patho. So now I can make 25 questions of medicine, pharma, anesthesia, and patho. Suppose I have completed 10 subjects. So what I can do is I can increase the number of MCQs into 50 questions, and I can include MCQs from those 10 subjects that I've completed. Now this is something you can do. Whoever asks me, sir, how to make sure I'm doing something every day, this is one way of doing, right? If you can, it is well and good. Guys, finally, on the day of exam, see, on the day of exam, you'll have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. In these two papers, always remember, both papers will not have equal quality of questions. Some paper 1 might be difficult, paper 2 might be difficult, paper 1 might be easy, paper 2 might be easy. That is something you have to keep in mind, right? In paper 1, if it is difficult, I would try to score as much as possible. But if my paper 1 does not go well, I do not need to panic, because if paper 1 is not good, paper 2 is usually good. That is what has been seen historically. A lot of students lose their cool when paper 1 does not go well. They become anxious, they become depressed, and then because of this, paper 2 is also wasted. So if paper 1 is not good, you have to console yourself. You have to have that patience that paper 2 questions would come which you would be able to solve. At the end of the day, even suppose, let us say, I'm getting only 60 marks from paper 1, I have the possibility that I can score better in paper 2, 90, and that would ultimately become 150. So in both papers, you cannot solve equal number of marks. One has to be more, one has to be less. and it does not matter. How to solve paper 1 and paper 2, I've already told you in layers 1, 2, 3. And at the end of the day, by doing all of this, at last, in these papers 1 and 2, I've done whatever I could do before this. Go for the exam, appear for the exam, and rest. Live to God, right? And I'm telling you something, if you'll prepare honestly, you'll get out of this mess 100%. The only thing is how honest you are in the preparation. No one else can say except you and you, right? So guys, whatever I've discussed up until now is crafting a plan and following this plan. And believe me, following this plan is only 50% of job. Making this plan, you have to be smart. And I've shared the recipe as to how to make a plan. And rest, we all know that I have to do hard work. And this is one of my favorite quotes. Hard work can compensate for intelligence, but intelligence can never ever compensate for hard work. So hard work is again 50% of the job done. How you need to work hard. For that, I need a plan. How to make a plan from first reading to second reading to third reading, even for the last 3 days. I've shared everything in this revision video. How do you have to use a day? 8 hours of reading something new, 2 hours of revising yesterday, day before yesterday. This is the single most important point of this exercise that I have done today, right? So if you think your MBBS time period, you have not studied well, your intelligence is not good enough. If you think like that, then please stop thinking like that. Whatever deficiencies you have, you can overcome them by planning well and hard work. Combine both and you'll get there wherever you are desiring to get. Because if you still have any doubts, then you can always post in the comment box, or you can always DM me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @doc_farmaniac. So if you comment in the YouTube video, I'll answer you. If you DM me, I try to answer everyone on the same day or the next day, depending upon if I have a class or not, right? So guys, this is what I had to offer, and it all comes down to meticulous planning of how I can do. While you read, while you study, you'll have some days of less productivity. You might have an entire day which will go without any production, and you don't need to lose hope. We are humans. We're not computers. So we'll have days of less productivity. We'll have day of good productivity. Second, if ever you get depressed in this process, you remember why you are doing this, why you started this journey, right? Hopes of a lot of people is riding on you. Your parents, your relatives, your friends, they want you to see on the other side of the line. Do it for them. Do it for yourself, right? And when you do this, when you get 150 marks on your own, apart from a passing certificate from the MCI or NMC, what else you get is enormous amount of confidence that you can do anything in life. You cannot buy that confidence in any shop. You can earn that, right? You're watching this session with a hope. Can I clear the exam by following this? I'm saying yes, you can. You just have to follow it honestly, whatever I've said. Make a plan like this. Try to follow it day after day after day after day. Toil every day. If you have ever any doubts, you can always message me. I'm there to be with you till the last day of the exam. We can cross this together, but we have to be practical in our approach. Right, guys? That's all for today's session, guys. Lots of love and blessings. My heart goes out to all of you students who have failed on repeated attempts. And I sincerely want all of you guys to pass. And if there is some deficiency in your preparation, I've tried to fill that gap by this video, guys. So God bless you, all of you guys. Lots of love and blessings. I'll see you on the other side.